Very good evening, ladies and gentlemen, for those who are joining from Sri Lanka and across the globe. We warmly welcome you to this enthralling and informative platform of Gear Up. This is our sixth forum organized under the Gear Up session online. Ladies and gentlemen, there is a saying that goes on to say by George Lucas, always remember your focus determines your reality. Because oftentimes in our lives, living in this modern commercialized society, we tend to get distracted very often. And especially as students, it is of utmost vitality and importance in order to go on along with our journey of our dreams, steering forward for not being distracted. And I'm pretty sure that all of us will definitely agree that patience added up with discipline, inculcated within our daily routines, will determine our futures. So today, we are ready to present to you a very salient and a timely important session on how to remain focused in achieving your dreams, because every determined student has a successful dream to be achieved. And we are here to support you and your future to grow higher and higher. And now you must be wondering who we are. Well, I am Inshaf Ahmed from the ocean of the CA Student Society, the official students' body of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Sri Lanka. Well, to know who we are and what we do, let me hand over the controls of the screen. Well, this is what CAS is about. This is who we are and what we do. And as I said before, individually, I'm a drop of water, but together, we are an ocean. Just a quick note before we start the session itself. Please do note that you can send all your queries and questions via our chat boxes in whichever platform that you join in, which will be directed to our guest speaker directly itself. All right, in this beautiful journey of gearing up, I know now you are hyped up to listen and hear from our guest speaker itself, to elicit more about this great personality. He is a senior consultant in the financial advisory financial at PwC Australia. He is also an accredited chartered accountant from both local and a foreign body. He holds a special degree in accounting from the prestigious University of Sri Javarzanapura, and he is a CA prize winner. These are just a few of his great accomplishments. But to tell you one more interesting thing, did you know that he is also a passionate singer? Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together virtually in welcoming the one and only Mr. Chinthaka Kooragama. Sir, the screen is yours.
Okay, I hope I'm audible to everyone. Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. So, Inshaf, thanks for that lovely introduction. So first of all, let me say thank you so much to the CA Student Society and then everyone for inviting me for this session. It means a great deal to me as well. So once again, thank you so much, guys, for the invite. Okay, so today's session, so when Malchi invited me and then say that like, can you please do a session? And then when I ask, what do you want me to do? So the answer that came in was, so we need some motivation, we need some guidance on how to keep our track, like how to ensure that we are not distracted, how to ensure that we are going in the right path, how to ensure that in this new normal, like this pandemic situation has impacted the study routines of everyone. So how to make sure that everyone is staying focused, and then how we are going to be successful in our examinations and then whatnot, right? So I said, yes, let's do something. And then also I asked her, do we need any slides or anything, stuff like that. But then again, my suggestion was, this is something what we call as a motivational section, or kind of to give some guidelines on how you can keep your focus in this journey. So I guess today's session is more about talking and then kind of an interactive session where I'm more than happy, more than open to take all of your questions. So guys, so let me give a brief introduction about myself, and then let's jump into the contents of what we are going to discuss today. So my name is Chinthaka Kooragama. So I work as a senior consultant in PricewaterhouseCoopers Sydney at the moment. And then I qualified as a chartered accountant back in 2019, and then also from ACCA UK back in the same year. And then I hold a special degree in accounting from Department of Accounting, University of Sri Javaradhanapura. And then as Inshaf mentioned, I was a prize winner for chartered first level accounting and then second level accounting subjects. So those are some of the stuff from my profile, but the objective of this session is to give you some motivation. So before we start, let me give you some background on how we are going to build up today's session, right? So I'm happy to give you some motivation. So guys, I'm going to take some examples from my life to help you understand how I have planned my path, and then what has helped me to be here today, what has helped me to stay focused. So it's not about talking myself, it's about taking me as an example in most of the cases to help you guys on how to build up your career and how to stay focused. So, okay. So now, when we are talking about how to stay focused, and then how to get ready for your examinations, and then everything like work-life balance, everything. The questions that I'm getting is, oh my God, like there's too much of stress, there's too much of stuff to do. There are so many distractions coming in, like there are some personal life issues, and then money problems, like I don't have enough money, like it's not sufficient, and then I don't have enough time. That's the most complaint that I'm getting these days. I don't have enough time, so like what can I do, what should I do, right? So guys, so now all I'm hearing is complaints, right? All I'm hearing is complaints and distractions, right? And then it's true, when you're getting all these distractions, it's quite normal, the human nature, to get distracted and then deviate from your path, deviate from your goals and objectives, right? So now, this whole session, this whole thing, I'm going to build up on one important concept which will help you to stay focused, which will help you to stay motivated. Every time when you feel like you are stressed, you're not up to speed, you're not ready, you're getting distractions, you are having problems, every time when you are getting these problems, I'm going to give you some tips, I'm going to give you some hints on how to get back to the track. Okay, so I told you it's simply something based on a single concept. Guys, why you are getting distracted? The main answer is you don't know what you're doing. That is the problem. You don't know what you're doing. You have issues. You don't know what you're doing. You don't have a clear path. That's why you are getting distracted. So then the problem is, so why this person is saying, I don't know what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing. I'm doing chartered. I'm going to firms. I'm going to work. I'm signing my articles. So I'm doing my studies, but I'm failing my exams. So why is saying that, like, I don't know what I'm doing? Guys, in this whole journey of yourself, like from this day onwards to the future, what will keep you alive, what will keep you motivated is a living dream, right? A living dream. That is what will help you to keep focus and stay motivated. So let me go back to another 10, 12 years of my time. But so I still remember, like, the days that I was back in school, like for an example, grade 9, 10, when I was in there, I was maybe 30s, 20s in the class. I was not a, like, what you now call as a bright fellow, right? So yeah, I was coming from that background. Like, I still remember the times that when we are getting our report cards and stuff, no one is even bothering to come to us and ask, like, what's your portion in the class, because obvious we are 20s, 30s students, right? And it changed a bit when we jumped into the A levels. So someone can ask, what makes you change your mindset, what makes you change your pattern? Guys, so the person who I am today is an outcome of a whole process of 10 to 15 years, I would say. So it is not something that has happened overnight. So in your journey, whatever the person that you are trying to become will not be something that you will achieve over the night. It is something that you are going to achieve throughout a, a lengthier time period. I would say 10 to 15 years. So basically, guys, like 10 years ago, back in 2012, 2011, when I'm doing my advanced level, I faced my advanced level examination in 2012. So I remember when going to the tuition classes, so I lived in Maharagama. So we get into the bus with friends, And then it was so crowded in the morning to go to Nugekude classes. It was so crowded in the morning. So hardly getting into the bus, and then kind of like in the footboard, and then going into the class. And then on the way back also, it's the same scenario. So every time when I'm getting into the bus, the motivation that I had was, oh my God, if I'm not going to be successful in these exams, then I have to do this for the entire 30, 40 years of my life for the future, maybe 50, 60 years for the future. Because if I'm not going to be successful, then I have to go through the same struggle every day in the coming years, no matter what, no matter what. And and guys, I still remember the times where when we are going to do shopping, like to buy something for New Year, to buy something for Christmas, we went with only with thousand rupees in hand, like 2,000 rupees in hand. Like that's even hard to get from the parents, because my parents, like my father is a trivial driver, so he worked really hard, right? So we can't go and ask money every time from them. So we knew that. So if we are not going to do something big, then our life will be the same for the future. It's never going to change, right? I still remember the days where we haven't had money to buy the clothes that we want, right? We haven't had money to buy what we want to eat, right? We haven't had money to go in a car even, right? We haven't had a car in our house, right? So we had only a trishaw. So all these things help me to become the person who I am today. So what I'm trying to tell you guys is, okay, so when facing all these struggles, what I learned was, if you are not going to get these things done, if you are not going to come out of this situation by your own, there's no one is there to help you. There's no one is there to help you. You can stay in the same pattern. You can stay after another 10, 15 years without having money to buy you what you want, without having the money to buy whatever your parents want, without having the money to buy whatever your children, your wife wants, without having the money to live a successful life, a happy family life. So to do that, guys, now what kept me focused? So that is the important thing in this session. That is what we are going to discuss today. You need to visualize yourself. You need to visualize yourself. So when you are doing something, what you need to do is, you need to visualize, okay, if I achieve this, if I'm going to reach this goal, if I'm going to reach this target, how happy would I be? That is the main thing which will keep you focused. Like in 2000, I can remember when I'm doing my A levels, I told you one thing kept me focused was, I haven't had money, right? And then when studying every day, I visualize myself, okay, I'm getting island rank, first 1, 2, 3 ranks in Sri Lanka. And then I visualize myself, okay, if I did that, what kind of things can I achieve? I visualize myself, if I do that, okay, how people come and praise me, like the recognition that I'm getting. And end of the day, I didn't achieve that goal. I didn't achieve being first in the first 10 even in the A levels, right? I will come to that point. But it helped me to be the man who I am today, right? So one of the most important things which will help you to stay motivated, stay focused is, guys, just visualize yourself. Just visualize how it will be if you achieve your goals, if you achieve your vision, if you become the man who you dream to be. Just visualize it. So when you are visualizing that, whatever the problems that you are having, you will find a way to manage. Definitely, you will definitely find a way to manage. So I will take another couple of examples on my journey over the past 10 years. So guys, now today I'm just sitting in front of every one of you and then doing this session, right, in English. But like 10 years ago, if someone asked me to do something like this, I will say no for sure, right? Why? Because I couldn't speak English like 10-15 years ago, right? So I was kind of like, I can give myself, that's all, right? So I still remember the first day in the audit firm. So I went to PwC. So my senior came to me. So we wanted to go to a meeting, right? So he asked me to put my tie. I didn't know even how to put my tie by myself, right? So that was who I am like some years ago, right? But what I did over the past years has helped me to be the person who I am today, which is exactly I'm trying to tell you today to do, so that after another 5-6 years, you can proudly talk yourself to another audience, right? You can get that courage. So and then guys, so when you are studying, every time you guys always say that I don't have time, it's difficult, I'm failing this subject, right? I have personal issues, I have problems in my family, right? I have problems with my relationship life. Like all these excuses will come. So when all these problems are coming, again, what you have to do is, okay, so now imagine you are having a problem with your relationship, your relationship life, right? So imagine, what if you are not going to study? What if you are going to throw your exams away? What if you are going to throw everything away and then wait for another couple of months until exams pass? And then after another 5-6 months, when look back, you start thinking how stupid I am, right? Just think what I'm saying right now. Just look back over couple of instances where in your life where you have thrown away some opportunities because of some temporary situations in your mind, where you have thrown away stuff out of your life, and then later after another 5-6 months or maybe an year, you start regretting how stupid I am, right? So what's the lesson you need to learn here? Guys, nothing is permanent, things are temporary, the things happening in our life are temporary, right? So if you know that the situations are temporary, you can change those situations if you are motivated and if you are focused, right? So what will help you to keep focus is that end goal, that end visualization of your goal, right? So if you are trying to visualize yourself to be the man that you want to be after another 10 years, 5 years, then whatever the distractions you are facing, it will go away, right? So I will tell you another couple of examples, guys. So I remember when I am studying for my exams, so you guys always say that you don't have time, right? So let me tell you how I studied. So for my final level in CA, not even in final level, like third level and final level in CA, I didn't went to classes. So I self-study stuff by myself, because the reason is, it's not because I'm kind of a superhero, it's because I haven't had time to go to classes. It's because I haven't had time to sit at one place for 7 hours and learn stuff, because I was a lecturer back then, even when I'm studying chartered. I did lecturing back in Sri Lanka. So basically, how my life was: 5 days at audit firm, spending till midnight, and then on the weekends, starting from early morning up until midnight. That's how it went. So if I started complaining like I don't have time, I will never sit here and then do this session to you today, right? So I remember there are certain days where I started doing classes at 4 o'clock in the morning because I did some individual classes as well. So I haven't had time because weekdays I had to focus on firm. And then weekends, daytime, I had full-time lectures to conduct starting from 8:30 to 5:30. So what I did was I started doing individual class at 4 o'clock. So to do that, I woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning, and then I did classes for 2-3 hours, and then did a complete 7-hour lecture after that. And then after finishing that 7-8 hours lecture, I went to another individual class. So why I did that? Just to get some money? No, that's for my self-satisfaction and also the financial support, because I told you we haven't had money, right? So all I knew was, to whatever the extent of financial support I need to have, I need to earn it by myself because I can't trouble my parents. So I needed an extra effort, extra commitment to find that by myself. So end of the day, when looking at the exams, I was like, shit, I don't have time. But did I give up? That's the important thing. No, I never gave up, because once you get that motivation, you will never give up. Because every time when I feel busy, I was like, okay, I'm busy now. I don't have a relaxed life now. I'm kind of working 15, 16, 17 hours per day. Like I'm only sleeping 5-6 hours, right? Not even 5-6 hours some days, like sleeping 4 hours per day. But I knew that if I'm not going to put that effort for that 4 or 5 years, then I have to spend the rest of my life going in public transport, wearing what I don't want to wear, right? And then I might not have money to spend on my parents' wishes. I might not have money to spend on my family one day when I become a family, right? So all these things come into my mind. So every time when I'm feeling like I can't do this, then what I thought was, okay, what if I didn't do this? What's going to happen to me? So this is my situation. So I'm 100%, 1000% sure for all of you, that's what's happening. That is what's applicable. So whenever you are getting a distraction, guys, you have to start thinking, okay, what if I gave up? What if I'm going to give up? Then I'm not going to come out of this situation, never, right? Because now, don't worry, I'm just giving you some backgrounds, but I will come later, like after another 10-15 minutes, on how to build up a plan, and then how you're going to execute that when it comes to these exams, and then how you're going to stick to that plan when you are attending those examinations and whatever your future goals. I will come to that part as well. Don't worry, I'm just giving you some backgrounds, some basis for that discussion. Okay, so and then guys, so another example that I need to tell you, right? So I am speaking to you now without even looking at a paper, like I'm speaking English, right? But I remember the days that I started doing some lecturing in English medium. So my first batch, so in that class, I had around 20 people in the classroom. That was way before I qualified, like 2-3 years before I qualified. I started doing some English medium lecturing in an institute. So what happened was, so there were like 2-3 students who really appraised me, but majority of the class, 80%, 90% of the class, they used to laugh at me. Why? Because of my stupid accent, because I couldn't pronounce some words, and then I haven't had a perfect vocabulary. So I started using some stupid words so that some students keep laughing at me. But if I ever gave up on that day, if I ever think, okay, people are laughing at me, I should give up, then I'm not talking to you like this today, right? So guys, now today I'm working in PwC Sydney. So here we have 7,000 people in Australia working for PricewaterhouseCoopers. So they are the best employers in Australia. So now I'm talking to you here, and daily I'm speaking with foreigners, like in my division itself, we have more than what people from more than 50 countries, right? So I'm dealing with everyone with them in English, which I struggled a lot 5, 6 years ago, right? Not even 5, 6, like 4, 5 years ago, which I struggled a lot. But what helped me to achieve this is I had my goal, I had my objective. I visualize this very same day, the very same day I'm coming and instructing you all, right, as a motivational speaker on how to plan your path, right? I visualize the exact very same day, right? So I will tell you, for your hard work and commitments, guys, whenever you are having doubts on all these efforts, will it have value? I will say, don't ever start self-doubting that, right? Because most of the people, the critical mistake that you guys are doing is you want results overnight. It is never going to happen. It is never going to happen. You can't have results overnight, guys. So for you to have results of some process, you have to stick to that no matter what for an extended period of time. Then you start feeling that, okay, I'm getting some results, right? Unless you are going to stick to that plan, you're never going to have results, guys. So now, so I told you, I'm from a family where we haven't had even money to spend on clothes, on Nivea clothes, right? So I remember certain times, like on book fair, I had to ask money from my mother to buy books. I'm talking 10 years ago, right? What she can give me was 1,000 rupees, right? So not even that sometimes. So those days I started feeling I have to do something. Why? Otherwise, my parents have to struggle a lot, right? I have to struggle a lot. So I have to do something to change that. But now, because of that effort, because of that motivation I had for the past 10 years, here I am, where PwC sponsored for my visa, they sponsored for my ticket, they paid for my accommodation, they paid for my first 2 weeks food, they literally paid for everything, and then they get me here, right? So once again, I'm not talking about myself, I'm not boasting about myself, but what I'm saying is, for whatever the efforts that I have put, I'm getting results, guys. I'm yielding that, right? So I'm telling you to do the same thing. So if you stick to a certain process, if you stick to certain thing for a certain period of time, there's no matter what, you're going to get the results. So every time when I'm starting certain things, like there are some days I remember, like back in PwC Sri Lanka, in here in PwC Australia, like when I'm working, there are certain days which I feel so down. I feel like I can't do this. I can't. It's too much stress. It's too much stress, too much things happening. So every time when I'm getting that feeling, I take a deep breath and then I start visualizing, okay, how many such days I had over the past 10 years where I start questioning my own ability, where I start thinking, I can't do this. And then every time of those situations, I managed to recover. And then certain situations where I couldn't manage to recover, and then how I felt after another 3, 4 months, how stupid I am, right? How regretful I am because I couldn't do that. So once you start visualizing that past, then you start feeling, okay, if I did that in past, I had the same feeling saying I couldn't do this, but I managed to overcome it. So certain things I thrown away, but after 5 months, I felt like, what did I do? So start thinking like that. So whatever the stress now you are getting, you should be able to manage that, right? So I will explain it more when we are talking about building a plan for your future and for your exams, but I'm just giving you some background here. So guys, all I want to tell you is, if someone is asking what will help you to keep motivated, what will help you to keep focused, it's not rocket science. There's no complex formulas, there's no algebra included in here. It's simply your end goal, right? It's simply the dream that you are having inside your mind. That's what will help you to keep motivated, keep focused. Every time when you are having a problem, you start thinking, okay, what if I gave away? I'm not going to achieve this, right? So before doing this session, I actually watched some previous GRUP sessions, which Sandurvan sir did, Nilendra sir did, right? And then also I watched a session where CS Sri Lanka has telecasted a couple of days ago. So I would definitely say, so my session that I'm doing today, it's kind of linked with everything, every one of those sessions. So Nirendra sir did something on how to manage your stuff on new normal, and Sandhuran sir did something on uh, nothing is impossible, right? So what I'm also saying, nothing is impossible, right? So guys, one example, and then I will move to the next part. So one another example. So everyone is saying it's so hard to do CA without going to classes, right? And you need to study for months to get through CA. So I still remember the final level CA when I'm doing the corporate financial management FM subject. I didn't even touch my books for the first 5 months. I'm not asking you to do that. I did it for my own reasons because I was super busy for 24 hours of the day. I needed 26 hours per day, but I only had 24. So I couldn't even look at what was the syllabus first. Because in the firm, some days where I went home around 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning, and then coming back at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock in the next day. So I couldn't do anything over that 5 months. And then what I'm hearing from everyone is, just listen, right? What I'm hearing from everyone is like the ones which attempted previously and failed, and the ones who got through, everyone is saying it's hard. No one has done that. You just see whether if you can take some additional leave, or what you can attempt in the next time if you're unsure, right? Those are the comments I'm hearing. Guys, that is what you need to block out, right? If someone is trying to reflect their views on you, just block them out, right? Because you know who you are, right? You are the only person who can determine what miracles you can do, right? You're the only person who can determine what miracles you can do, right? So finally, in that final month, that's the time I opened the study pack by myself. And then I finally got through the subject, right? So what I'm trying to tell is, if I listen to the others' views, and then if I start every time when I turning the pages in that book, if I start thinking that, okay, others have failed, can I do this? No. If everyone is failed, then I may not also able to get through this subject. I might need some time. If I start complaining about my hardships, then I may never achieve that. But what I start visualizing was, what if I get through this? I can tell everyone I did this subject in this manner, right? Where everyone was complaining, where everyone is saying that it's a really hard subject. This is how I did that. So I can tell others, I can motivate others. I visualized myself the very same way that I'm doing to you right now. I visualized it over a few years ago. So which helped me to achieve that goal. So now, guys, so now let's quickly jump into the next part. So I'm going to take another 15-20 minutes to discuss when you are studying, how you should do that while keeping your focus and how to do it properly, right? Because, sorry guys, most of the times what I'm hearing is, sir, I'm doing as much as study as I can, but I failed. I only got 40. I got 35. I failed by 49. I'm doing studies every time. That's one thing I'm hearing. The second thing I'm hearing, I'm having distractions. I have a lot of things to do. I have a lot of stress. I have a lot of problems in my office, right? So I don't think I have time to do the exams. That's another excuse I'm getting. And another excuse I'm getting is, okay, I'm having problems in my family, right? So I have some personal issues, so I can't keep focus. So those are the excuses I'm getting daily from students who are asking for my help, right? So now, guys, if you become the person who always complain, you will never going to success in anything. Forget about chartered, right? Chartered is just an exam. In life, you will never be the successful person. Even if you skip chartered and jump into another profession, if you find out that CA is not my thing, don't stuck in here. If you feel like playing guitar is your thing, if you feel like painting is your thing, don't waste your time on chartered, right? I will get that part as well, get that part as well. So, but what I'm saying is, if you are doing chartered, then you have to keep motivated for doing this, right? So if you start giving excuses for everything, if you say it's difficult, it is. Otherwise, why the hell this profession is having this much of recognition all over the world? So we have only 8,000 chartered accountants for the past 50 years, right? So if it's an easy exam, if it's something which everyone can get through, then you won't have 8,000 chartered accountants for the past 50 years, right? So this is a prestigious profession, guys. So you need to do the impossible to achieve that, right? So to do that, you have to keep focused, keep motivated for a certain period of time without distractions, right? I'm saying without distractions, but that doesn't mean that there are no distractions. There are distractions, but you have to learn how to overcome those distractions, right? So now I told you, I'm going to tell you how to build up a plan and then how to make sure that you're tracking on that plan. So guys, now the most important thing is, when you are developing a plan, you have to identify what is your SWOT, right? What is your SWOT? So you are learning for your what do you say, for your A-level exams, also even for your O-level examination, if you have done commerce, you have learned Shadhuwata Vishleshana, SWOT analysis, right? Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. You have to do the same thing for you, right? You have to do the same thing for you to identify what are my strengths, what are my weaknesses, what are the opportunities that I'm having, and what are the threats I'm having. So for an example, what are my strengths? So if I take myself as an example, I can sleep for 3 hours and then work the very next day as I slept for 8 hours, right? That's one of my strength, right? Another strength of mine, I don't care about what others think about myself. Even if they laugh at me, that's not my problem. It's their problem. So one another strength of me is I can continue in my work without what others think on me. So that's my strength, let's say. And then weaknesses. I had weaknesses on English, right? I had weaknesses on IT. I'm not shy to say that in my first year, my first IT subject, my result was a C minus. Sorry, not a C minus, C. And then on the next one, it's a B minus, right? On my first year IT. Why? Because I didn't know how to read a VLOOKUP back then. I still remember my first year examination, there was a VLOOKUP inside a HLOOKUP. I didn't know what the hell even VLOOKUP and HLOOKUP is, right? In 2014, I'm talking about, right? Because we were so focused on studying things hardly, but not doing things by computers. So that was my result back then, right? But now here we go, dealing with all the new technologies daily, 24 hours per day, right? That's how my life now. So that was one of my weakness, language and IT. If I didn't identify that as a weakness by then, I may not be sitting here and then telling you this. So I identified that that was my weakness, right? And then next, opportunities. So what kind of opportunities you have? So you have to assess that. So basically, it depends on people's situations. So you may be getting some additional leave from your firm, or you may be getting some good seniors in your office where they will really help you to get through the exams, and then good bosses, right? So those are some good opportunities that you are getting from the external environment. And then you have a good family, you have very supportive parents. Those are some opportunities that you are having. And then threats. Okay, you are having some deadlines, right, close to your exams, so it's a threat, right? So likewise, for you, just analyze what's your SWOT, right? What will be your SWOT? So these analysis will depend on what are you planning for. So if you are planning for a short-term thing, like let's say for your exam that you are going to face within the next 2-3 months, the SWOT will be different than the overall big picture SWOT that you are doing for your next 10 years life, next 10 years in your life, right? It will be different. So once you identify what's surrounding you, what kind of strengths you have, what kind of weaknesses you have, right, then you can use your strengths to overcome those weaknesses. Again, I'm going to link this to one of the examples that I told you previously. I told you guys, in my first English medium class that I did, some students laugh at me, right? I still can remember why they laugh at me. I don't have any issue with them, because for some people, I may be speaking bad English back then, right? So back then, if right, if I feel like, okay, if they're laughing at me, so I should give up, then I haven't used my strength to overcome my weakness. Why I'm saying so? Because when I'm saying my strengths and weaknesses, I told you that one of my strengths is I don't care what others think. I will do whatever I need to do to achieve my goal, right? So I had the courage to stand in front of that classroom and speak in English by making whatever the mistakes that I'm doing. So I had that strength to overcome my weakness of speaking in English. I did that, right? And then when I'm doing the second session, the second day, it was much smoother than the first day. I remember to do a 2-hour class, I had to practice 7-8 hours the day before. I kept by hearting what I'm going to talking next day. I took some pictures on the things that I'm going to say, and then kept it on my phone. That's how I did my classes back then, right? But every time back in my mind, what I had was, okay, if someone is laughing, it's fine, right? I don't care, right? Because I am doing this to be the person who I am dreaming to be after another 10 years of time, 5 years of time, right? So that's how you are using your strengths to overcome your weaknesses, right? Even now, guys, when I came in here, I moved here by myself, right? So my first engagement was with the Netherlands director. So he was super helpful, but we never used to speaking with foreigners back in Sri Lanka, right? So we might have said hi, hello, hey there, but then talking 8 hours per day in English, in a different language, in a different accent, it's different, right? So, and then when I jumped in here, when I see all these new technological tools, I was like, shit, there's too much stuff which I don't know, right? Because it's a whole new level of technology in here. So, okay, again, my weakness. I'm not into this technological stuff. So what I did for the first 3 months in here, kind of like every day, I stayed up till 3 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning. Why? Because I needed to make sure I'm getting thorough with the systems. I'm getting thorough with this procedures so that I can excel in here, so that I can do some miracles in here, right? I'm not saying I'm doing miracles. I'm saying to get my place, to earn the trust, I have to do the hard work. So I knew my strength was what? I can do whatever the commitment I want to achieve my goal, right? So when I came in here, right? When I came in here, what I had, so always what was in my mind was, you are in a different country. You don't have friends in here back then, the time that I moved in here, right? So they don't trust you because it's a very hard thing to earn your trust. It's a very hard thing to earn your trust. So it takes time. So then what I needed to do is I needed to have a plan for myself to earn their trust and to gain the confidence, right? And to do my work so that I can be a fixed asset in here. So the result is, guys, they confirmed my probation 3 months before the normal time period. I was supposed to be on probation for 6 months, but they confirmed by 3 months, right? But in that 3 months, I have slept for like 4 hours per day, every day, and weekends I'm working. That's how my life was. But people who are on my Facebook friend list might be seeing like I'm going out, I'm enjoying, right? If you're on my friend list, right, you might be seeing that. But guys, you are seeing the success only. That is what I need to tell you. You are seeing the success only. That success is something never you are earning easy, right? So to earn that success, there are so many sleepless nights that we are doing, right? So still, if I look at the past 3 months, I feel like when I look back, how did I get through those 3 months? For the past 3 months, that was so stressful. Working from home, so you guys are complaining about everything, right? This new normal and stuff. Imagine, guys, so I live here by myself, there's no one in here. So imagine sitting in front of a laptop for 15 hours per day. So we only have 24 hours, right? 15 hours working straight away. So you only have 8 hours to sleep, 8 or 9 hours to sleep, eat, make calls, to have a personal life. For everything you have 8-9 hours for the full day, right? But somehow we got through that. But the people outside will only see what? That success part, right? But you have to know that to see that success, there are so much of commitments, there's so much of sleepless nights that we have to follow, right? So in your path, guys, in your route, you have to make sure that you are doing that commitment, right? You are doing that hard work, you are putting that effort. If you are not going to put that, if you are going to give up halfway through, you will be a failure, right? So every time when someone comes and tell me now, so this is hard, this is difficult, I feel like you're talking nonsense, right? Because there's nothing easy. There's nothing in this life is easy, right? Everything in this life, you have to work hard to earn that, right? You really have to work hard to earn that. But once you achieve that, oh my God, you will be the happiest person on the earth, right? So I am talking by my experience. So when you see the smile in the in your parents' faces when they see your success, right? When you hear that, when others talk about your success and praise you, right? When you hear that your name have become a brand name, right? When you hear that you have such a recognition when people say your name, guys, visualize that. That will help you to keep motivated, right? Back in my A-level classes, I started thinking I will become a brand name one day. I have way more to go to that. but I know that I'm making progress. I have way more to go to that, to make that brand name. But I'm saying you, I can feel I'm making progress now, right? So I told you, back when I'm doing the studies for my A-level exams, I felt like, okay, I need to come to the first three places in A-levels rankings. I ended up island 28, right? I was so disappointed. I was so disappointed. I was starting to feel like, what's this? What is this? I did all the hard work, but then this was the result I got, right? But when I started to do chartered, I felt like, oh my God, this thing is so easy, right? It felt like when I'm even looking at a book, I felt like I'm automatically grasping this stuff. Why? Because I train my brain to do that, right? So every one of you, when you are initially looking at certain stuff, when you are studying, when at the time, by the time when you start feeling like this is difficult for me, and when your brain gives you a signal that give it up, at that point, if you give it up, you will never going to be a successful person. Why? Because you are doing what your brain wants, right? Don't ever get lost by that signal. If the brain is saying give it up, just stay and visualize, what if I give up? What if I give up now? What's going to happen, right? People saying it's difficult, it's so hard, right? But guys, there is a point in your brain, when you start training it, when you start training for a longer period of time, 5 months, 6 months, 7 months, you will automatically start feeling certain things which took you 3-4 hours to figure out, you are going to do it by 1 hour. That's how you are training your brain. That's how you should study. So every one of you, you have to put that initial investment. You have to put that initial commitment, right? So when you, every time when your brain says, give it up, you can't do it, you have to stick to your plan. Why? Because I'm going to be a star one day. That's what you need to think in your mind, right? I'm earning a lot one day. I'm going to buy what I want one day. I'm going to do shopping without looking at the price tags one day. I'm going to drive the dream car that I'm loving one day. I'm going to build up the dream house that I want to build up one day. I'm going to give all the money to my parents that they want to spend on whatever the means they want one day. Guys, think that when you think in that way, whatever the stress you are dealing, even though you only have to sleep 3-4 hours a day, you start feeling like, I can do this, right? Imagine you getting successful and people are praising you. You will able to achieve that. So I told you, like back in here, when I'm hardworking, in the first 5-6 months, I didn't slept well. I did everything I can to earn my place. And then end of the day, I ended up getting as a rating 1 performer in here in the whole Australia, right? But when I joined in here, I visualized that if I'm going to be appraised as a rating 1 performer, a person who is coming from a background where father was a trishaw driver, where my parents loved me most, but I'm saying about my background, where we haven't had a telephone till I started my university. I only had a small box type computer back in my home. A person like that who is coming from that background, coming to a world class multinational firm in Australia where they sponsored me for everything, and imagine me getting appraised as a outstanding 1 performer. I visualized that the very first day I landed in here, right? It helped me to survive so many sleepless nights I stayed, and then the work that I put it in, right? So I'm saying, guys, for you also, it's never too late, right? It's never too late. You start visualizing your thing, you start motivating. All the distractions you are getting, it's going to go away. I'm telling you, all the distractions will go away. there's nothing is impossible. That's what Sandurvansa said, and I'm also saying the same thing. So guys, when you're building up a plan, again, I'm coming back to the point. So I'm taking another 10 minutes and then we can go to the Q&A session, right? So basically, guys, when you are building up that study plan, so now I will be more specific about exams, right? So when you are building up that plan, whenever you are building up that plan, first you did your SWOT analysis. Okay, now I have this many months remaining to my exam, right? And then I have this much of work in my office, right? I have this much of things to study, right? I have this much of personal commitments to make. So you need to have a clear picture in your mind. Just coming home and taking a book and then sitting in front of it for 2-3 hours won't help you. As long as, unless you are having a clear idea on what you're going to face, you are never going to be success. So that is one important thing in planning. You need to assess and understand what's the position I'm in, right? Unless you are going to understand that, whatever the things you are going will be in vain. You will be just sitting in front of your book and then doing nothing, right? It's not going to help you. So basically, guys, now when you are building up that plan, okay, mainly think what you can control, right? The main reason why you guys are stressing up and then not doing your best is you are thinking about what you can control and then also what you cannot control, right? Guys, there are certain things in our life which we cannot control. So if you start stressing about the things you cannot control, then you're going to end up without doing nothing, right? So basically, example, right? So when you are building up this plan, if you feel like, okay, now there's a deadline coming in, right? In the firm. Now there's a deadline coming in the firm. Because of that, you're going to lose 1 week of your study leave, right? And even the partners have communicated, you have to do this. Clients also have communicated, we have to achieve this. Is it something you can control? Is it something you can control? Let's say no, right? Okay, if that is a situation which you cannot control, thinking about it, will it help you? No. Then what will happen if you keep thinking about it? It's going to worsen your present situation and then it's going to eaten up your present time, right? Okay, once you assess that this is out of my control, let's plan for something which is in my control, right? Let's plan for something which is in my control. So if I'm going to lose 7 days from my study leave, then how I'm going to compensate that? How many hours did I sleep for the past week? Let's say 7 hours. Okay, from this week onwards, I'm going to sleep 5 hours. Are you going to die by sleeping 5 hours and working? Hell no, I'm still alive, right? So I'm saying, don't be stupid thinking, making assumptions that it's not good for health, you can't do it. It's not the case, right? It's your lazy mindset always. But if you have that motivation goal in your mind, you will never start thinking like that. Always you feel like, okay, if I can study for 2 hours additional every day and sleep only 5 hours, I'm going to do it. Why? Because I need to get through this somehow. Otherwise, I'm the one who's going to be in trouble, right? So think about what you can control and then come up with a plan for that. And when coming up with the plan, how we are going to do that? Guys, this is really important. Why? You need to plan, okay, how many hours I'm going to have if I'm going to spend, let's say I have now 2 months. From these 2 months, just do a time plan saying, okay, this day I'm having this many hours to study, this day this many hours to study. Likewise, identify for the coming 2 months, let's say you have 2 months, how many hours you are going to have, and then come up with a number. This is the maximum number of hours that I can have. And then worst case scenario, if I lose an additional week from study leave, if I get an additional client commitment, right? If some family problems comes in, likewise, just keep some buffer, prudence concept, and then say, this is my worst case scenario, right? This is my worst case scenario. And build up a plan for the worst case scenario for this many hours, let's say 100 hours, what I need to study, right? I have 100 hours worst case. Then what I need to study to get through these subjects. Let's say you are facing 3 subjects, right? So in these 3 subjects, I only have 100 hours. Why you are failing? You have 3 hours, but you don't know how many hours you have. So you end up spending too much of time on unnecessary stuff while you are not focusing on what you need. That's why you fail. You don't know how many hours you can spend and what you need to prioritize, right? So identify from these 3 subjects, what is your worst thing? What is your worst nightmare out of these 3 subjects? Let's say focus more time on that, but that doesn't say that from the 100 hours you are going to spend 80 hours on that. That's not the way you have to do it. So if MA is your difficult subject, okay, step back, take a step back, understand why it's difficult for me, understand the root cause. Why you are always failing is you are not understanding the root cause of why you are failing, right? You are not understanding the root cause of why you are getting low marks, right? So before you start building up that plan for the 100 hours, you need to separate each of the 3 subjects. Let's take 3 subjects, and then you have to identify, okay, what are the lessons they have. So in those lessons, this is my past paper analysis, right? This is the number of hours I have, right? So based on this past paper analysis, what are the testable areas? So, okay, so this is my strength area. So I only need to spend few hours. This is not my strength area. This I need to spend more time. So likewise, identify hours you need to spend for each of the lessons, right? Likewise, build the plan for the worst case scenario, right? Once you do the worst case scenario planning, and then identify, start there, because always you're not going to end up in the worst case scenario. That's why I'm saying build the plan for the worst case scenario, right? And then identify, okay, if I'm going to get additional time, not the worst case scenario, then what are the additional things that I need to include in this plan, right? That is how you're going to do this. So this will take 2-3 hours. This is not a simple exercise, but planning is one of the most important things in building up a strategy. Most of you guys do a strategy without a plan and expect an outcome, right? So this is like a business, guys. This is my life. I'm doing a business. I'm trying to be a successful man. So that is my business. So my vision, I'm going to be a chartered accountant, right? So I'm going to be a successful person in my life, right? So to do that, I need to plan myself. I need to plan my time. So you come up with a plan for the worst case scenario. If this is the time that I have, and then when doing that, stop bothering about the things you cannot control, right? Whatever the problems at your office, right? And then whatever the problems at your house, if you can't control, let it be, right? Because every time when you start trying to control the environment around you, it's not going to help you, right? So guys, what you need to do is just identify what you can control, and then come up with a plan for the worst case scenario, how you are going to allocate time for each of the things, right? And then identify, on top of worst case scenario, what additional things you can do. And the other most important thing is you have to keep a track of your plan, right? So let's say once you start develop a plan, once you start coming up with a plan, then you have to understand, okay, from this plan, keep milestone. So, okay, so to achieve this 100-hour goal, I need to do these tasks in this week, right? So if you feel like, okay, I'm not going to achieve this, then what I did was, example for me. So let's say on Monday, I was planning to work for, let's say, additional 2 hours, but something came up and I couldn't work for 2 hours. I only worked for 1 hour. And then on the next day, I know that either I have to work an additional hour and sleep less, or I have to spread it across the week to make sure that I'm achieving the goals and targets that I set, right? So likewise, you have to set milestone for this 100-hour budget. I'm saying 100 as an example, right? So you have to set milestone for each of the tasks. Okay, this week, this time, you're going to keep this, you are going to achieve this. And then once in every 2 days, likewise, just sit in front of that plan and then assess, what did I achieve? Is it in track? If it's not in track, reevaluate and then understand, do you need to change anything? If it's not going to the plan, just understand what's the reasons. What do I need to change? Likewise, you need to reevaluate it once in every 2 days, right? Frequently you have to do that. Then only you're going to do this. Otherwise, without a proper plan, not even ZA, you can't do anything else, right? You can't do anything. You can't do anything without a proper plan. So guys, make sure that you are perfectly building up a plan and then tracking that plan and committed to that plan, right? So when you are doing that, whatever the distractions coming in, always be motivated by your end visualization, as I said previously, right? So planning is key thing for become a successful person, right? So for me, for an example, I'm working, but now before starting this session, I planned my next week, what I'm going to do next week, what I'm going to do tomorrow. So for this task, how many hours I'm going to spend? For this task, how many hours I'm going to spend? So if I feel like I'm short of the task for tomorrow, I know how many additional hours I have to work after 5 p.m. Right? So I plan my next week, right? Still I'm doing that. So once you get used to that, you can't get out of it, right? It will automatically come from your brain. And then you can't feel the success after spending 2-3 days, right? In this plan. You have to stay in this plan, you have to stay in this course for more than at least, let's say, 2-3 weeks to start feeling that you are getting something, right? Most of the people do this for 2-3 days and feel like, I'll give up, right? I'm not getting any result. Bullshit, you're not going to get results within 2-3 days. You have to stay on the course for a longer period to get the results, right? So when you get that feeling, when you get that motivation, whatever distractions come, you start thinking, I can do this, I'm going to do this, right? So guys, I know there are a lot of things. I can even talk about this topic for another 2-3 hours, but time is limited. So I'm going to give some time for the questions and answer session. But I guess over the past hour or so, I have talked something which hits your mind and then helps you to come up with a plan for the future and then try to stay focused, right? So I will give some time for the Q&A session. So the guys from the CA Student Society, so organizing committee, how is it going to happen? Is someone taking the questions and then asking from me, or do you want me to pick the questions? How it's going to happen?
Yes, sir. We have certain questions that have been pulled into the chat box. So,
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, perfect.
But before we take up the question itself, to be very candid and very frank, the words that you shared and the moments that you expressed is just precious words. So you just gave that roar like a lion for these cubs who are present on screen, and you just rekindled and reawakened those dying dreams of certain students, and you just gave that liveliness to our dreams to once again focus and envision through our dreams of visualization. Thank you so much, sir. It was indeed a very fruitful session, and I personally learned so much, and I hope we do the same with others as well. And again, we are heavily duty bound to thank you so much, sir. And thank you so much, sir. And it's time to move on with the Q&A sessions. We have a question. Sir, if we are unable to attend at least an year of audit experience, and if we are currently a university student, and if we are also planning to continue our chartered exams, what would be your suggestion as a plan?
Okay, so again, I'm coming back to the point where focus on things you can control, right? Forget about things you can't control. Like for an example, I didn't go to the firm after my A levels, so I missed that 1 year. So I straight away went to the university because I was searching for money. So I did some individual classes. So I missed that 1 year after A level. So what I did, so what happened was, so for me, I couldn't able to go to firm because after the A levels, and because of that, so when we are doing the chartered, we had a syllabus change back in 2014, I guess, 2014-15 syllabus change, right? So in there, they gave everyone the exemption. If you have 1 year of experience, you can sit for the final level in chartered. So what happened was, so I finished my 3 levels. So when we are doing, we had cap 1, cap 2, S1 and S2. So before going to the university, actually on the first year of university, in the first semester, I finished the first 3 levels. But then, since I didn't have the training, I look upon my friends, seeing that they're going and sitting for the final examination, where I finished all the 3 exams, but I couldn't sit for the final exam until I come out of the university. So I sat for my final exam in chartered after 4 years, right? I sat for final exam after facing my third exam after 4 years. So I sat for my third exam in 2014, and then I sat for my final level in 2018 or 19. So it's after exactly 4 or 5 years. But answer to this question, this is something which I couldn't control, right? So if I start worrying that my friends are facing exams, so my life is going backwards, so I am far behind the timelines of others. If I start worrying like that, then I may not be able to speak to you like this today. So what I did was, okay, I need the degree, right? Because the experience and stuff I'm getting from the university, it's unique, right? So I needed the degree as well. I needed the connections as well. So I thought of, okay, if I can't face for the chartered examination, so be it, right? But I'm going to spend that 3 4 years to enhance my soft skills, to enhance my connections, to enhance my other skills, right? So I spent those 4 years as an investment, right? So I invested on my free time. I invested on doing lecturing. I started building up a network. I started building up a brand, right? I started doing those things while I was in university. So if I start wasting my time thinking, okay, I'm going to lose this, I'm going to lose this, my friends are going forward, then I can't achieve what I did, right? So my advice, Diniti, if you feel like you missed the training, right, so be it, right? Don't even compare your timelines with others, right? So if you only can face the final examination after the university, after having another 2 years after the university, so be it, right? Because there's no timelines for your goals and targets, right? So if now you know that this is the time you can face for the exams, just plan for it. So if you have some additional time in between, plan what you need to do to enhance your additional skills, right? So hope the answer is clear, Inshaf.
Yes, sir. Rightly said, sir. We have yet another question that have
Yeah.
been up on the chat box. How important is it to have a correct work-life balance in the journey of achieving your dreams?
Uh, how important to have a work-life balance in achieving your dreams? So I would say it's a very hard question to answer, because when you are in a journey, there are certain compromises you have to make, there are certain commitments you have to make, there are certain sacrifices you have to make, right? Before achieving something, if you start worrying too much about earning your entitlements and then earning your whatever you are willing to have as a balance, then I would say you're thinking too much. Because you guys, including me, we are still in a time frame where we building up something for us, right? So it's true, we need our mental health, we need our physical health, right? We need everything. but there are certain compromises that we have to make in this journey, right? So if you start feeling like you are using your health, that's not a compromise that I'm not asking you to make, right? Because health is the utmost important thing. But as I said, sleeping 5 hours a day won't kill you, right? So what I meant as health was, if you start feeling you are getting sick, right? So take care of yourself. But if you are saying that like work-life balance as an entitlement, like you need to enjoy the life, yes, you need to enjoy the life, but there are certain times which you have to make commitments and sacrifices, right? So I tell you one example and then I conclude this answer. So I remember I had a birthday party for my 21st birthday, I guess. I had a party, and then one of the, so Harinder sir called me and asked on the party day itself, can you do this standard for my students on the next day, right? So that was a very new standard for me, which I didn't have any idea of how to go and teach into a class. So, and I said, yes, I will do. But then I realized, okay, I'm in my party. This will run till towards 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock at midnight, right? So I said yes. And then after the party, I stayed another 3-4 hours. And then I only slept at 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning after the party itself. And then I slept only 2-3 hours and then went and did that session, right? So that is a commitment I did, right? After the party, I didn't slept with all the happy memories thinking, okay, I had a party, right? So you have to do some sacrifices to earn that happiness. Guys, see now I'm traveling everywhere, right? I'm going all around the world. I'm enjoying the benefits. I'm doing whatever I can. So I'm having some balance now, but still that doesn't mean that I haven't done any sacrifices. I haven't done any commitments. So know your limits. That's what I have to say, right? Health is important. Know your limits, right?
Indeed, sir, indeed. That was one of the best answer that I can get from you. We have questions pouring up in the chat box, sir, but due to the time restraint, we will have to limit it to one question, one last question, sir.
Yeah.
So there is a question that goes on to say, in terms of foreign opportunity, what is the best skill or the vital skill that you need to develop?
Okay, I think that is one of the best questions which we can use here to wrap up the session even, because, okay, now guys, so you're asking what you need to have to get a good foreign job opportunity or like a good job in Sri Lanka or wherever, right? So I have to say, you being a chartered accountant itself doesn't mean that you're going to get a good job, right? So it's a portfolio of factors, right? So in this journey, you have to build a portfolio to get that job, right? So when I'm applying to the job in here, I am getting competed by people around more than 200 countries, right? 150 countries. So in PwC, we have more than 100 in 150 countries. So from all those countries, chartered accountants, people with so much of experience, they're applying for the same job, right? So you being a chartered accountant itself doesn't help you, you are getting the job, right? What helps you to get the job is confidence, right? What helps you to get the job is confidence. So when I say confidence, what will gives you the confidence? That's the next question. What will gives you the confidence? So guys, to get the confidence, there are different things that you have to do. First thing, you need to make sure that you are confident about the soft skills, right? What do you mean? You should be able to talk properly, right? You should be able to present yourself properly. Imagine you presenting to directors and CFOs from different parts of the world, and then you couldn't speak, right? So to do that, you need to improve your speaking abilities, right? So to do that, you need to start by talking mistakes, right? Forget about others, what others think. Start making mistakes and start learning that. Improve your IT skills, right? Improve your soft skills, because I'm telling you, there will be no accountant's role without the IT in the next 10 years, right? Not even 10 years, you can't do anything now, even without IT, right? So there are things now digitalizing. So it doesn't mean that our role will be completely replaced. We can't do, because our profession is something based on professional judgment, right? So, but then still we need to learn the digital aspect. So that is another soft skill which we need to develop, right? So once we have those additional skills, then the next thing what we need to have is we need to have the required experience, right? So I will use this opportunity to wrap up the session, this question. So complaint that I'm getting is, right, we are doing too much of work as a trainee, right? We are doing too much of work as a trainee. So is it worth it? Does it worth this all the trouble that we are doing, right? Guys, I'm telling you, for whatever the salary that you are getting right now, I'm not justifying, or I'm not talking on behalf of anyone. Let's make it clear. But I'm telling you, for whatever the sacrifices that you are doing today, it's worth it when you can earn a 6-digit, a 7-digit salary after another 3-4 years when you migrate, right? It's worth it, because the experience that you are getting today is what which will give you that confidence, right? I have the confidence now. I can sit in front of any interview body and then I can convince them that to recruit myself. Why? I have the experience, right? I like to take challenges. I will say yes to whatever the thing that they're offering me and then start learning that. I'm not a person who will take a step back and thinking, okay, this is something which I haven't done. Can I do this? I'm not a person like that. I will always say yes to the challenge and then start working on that. So for you guys, this is a really, really critical thing. Why? Because you guys think that training requirement is something that you have to fulfill to sit for the final exam, which is complete myth, right? Which is a complete myth, right? So there are chartered accountants who are earning 75,000, 100,000, 60,000, 50,000 maybe, but there are chartered accountants who are earning millions a month, right? So the gap between these two people is the same profession. What's the gap? The experience and the confidence, right? So that package, the package that you are selling to the others will make sure that you are getting all the additional benefits that you want, right? So this extra commitment, extra effort that you are putting, it's priceless. And also, I will take another additional 2 minutes, Inshaf. And also, when you're putting that commitment, when you're putting that effort, the trust you are earning from the other people, it's so valuable. It is so valuable, because when moving forward, for you to be successful, you need to have all these what do you call, connections. So those connections will come if you are a trustworthy person, right? So if you prove to the others that you are a trustworthy person, you can be trusted by any work, then automatically your brand will start building up, right? Wherever you go, they will recognize you as a hardworking person, a smart working person, right? So this period, this training period, please don't do it for the sake of doing training, because whatever I am today is because of the training I got over that 3-4 years, right? I made sure that I did it correctly, right? That's why I spent till 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the firm until morning to get the work done, because I knew that if I did it correctly, then I will start building up trust in the partners' mindset, in my managers, in my directors' mindsets, right? That will help me to excel and one day to go in front of an interview board and market myself, right? So in summary, it's a package, right? A portfolio which you need to build up to sell yourself. Passing exam won't help you to do that, right? So you have to start building that confidence by achieving all these other factors. Hope the answer is clear, Inshaf.
Indeed, sir. Indeed. Well said, sir. So we have questions pouring up once again in our chat boxes, but due to the time restraint, we will have to limit ourselves, unfortunately. But if possible, we will definitely find a way to answer via text itself. Uh, so to conclude, sir, thank you so much for joining us with today and making us all motivated towards reaching our goals and giving us a sound understanding on how important it is to focus on our journey to achieve our dreams successfully. Thank you, Mr. Chinthaka Kooragama, and wishing you all the very best for all your future endeavors. Thanking you on behalf of CAS from the bottom of our hearts, on behalf of all the students and viewers as well who did join from various parts across the globe. Finally, we conclude. There is a small request from our team. Please fill the feedback forms whilst you are leaving. And ladies and gentlemen, there is a saying that goes on to say, stories move hearts. And definitely, sir, your story so far will remain in our hearts for ages to cherish with. Starve your distractions, feed your focus. Signing off for today, this is Inshaf Ahmed on behalf of CAS. Cheers.